That'd be Tuesday.
Yeah, it was Tuesday.
You think an owl's dead, huh?
It's possible.
Owl can't hear no more.
Owls are a protected species.
That's right. But its eyesight means.
Yes,
That's right.
Eyes are keen. Depends on his eyes to survive.
Not make this easy.
Did the other one crow? I didn't hear him crow.
Yeah.
The first one did?
Yeah. He hooted it. Hooted. Let's see if that fixed.
You get in there all right?
Yes, sir.
That came on.
Testing, testing, testing. I see you green. Somebody say something, please.
Hello, hello, can you hear me?
Okay,
We have sound now?
we have sound now.
Guaranteed. I don't believe it.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Ask Rob to say something.
We should be able to hear him.
Without the mic.
And, all right, so the time is now 9:20 a.m. We may have our issues taken care of. I will reconvene this meeting. Can I see if, Rob, you've got your camera on. Can you hear us, sir?
Thank you, Vernon.
Thank you. Even a thumbs up would work. Okay, Jeff can hear us, so I guess we're okay now. Sorry about the technical difficulties. We have no minutes to approve. Commissioner items, Commissioner Kanda.
Just one quick one. There's good news and bad news to this story. The good news is TV towers are running great and everybody's praising the county for great work.
Well, there you go.
The even better news is Matt Carver did such a great job. He fixed the building and it was nice and airtight.
Good.
The bad news is it made it hot.
It was too airtight.
It's too bad. So I got a call from Channel 11 in Springs because they monitor it and they said it's getting to be 90 degrees in there.
Okay,
So I called up Matt, and Matt said he's gonna go out, he's going out to Vermont, and he's gonna get the old cooler that's out there, because he's gotta go out there anyway, and he's gonna put it in before the sun gets too hot today.
Okay.
And then it'll get better as, it's gonna be cooler even when the sun's up later, but we're gonna have to get something permanent, nice air conditioning system that we can monitor whether it's working or not.
I think he got a quote for
Did he?
a split unit out there,
Good.
so.
We can get that in whenever that happens.
Yeah.
But, so the good news, we don't want to fry the new equipment, and 90 degrees, it was a caution thing, but when it gets that hot, it's carrying on for
That
long.
is-
It's bad.
Well, it's 90 degrees when it's 65 out now, when it's 90 degrees out.
We will be 100 and
So
something.
before
degrees.
next summer, yeah.
And then working with the airport, they're pressing down the path on that pad. Looks good. They're gonna work getting the electric in. They got a guy they're looking at getting bids on for the electric connections on it. And things are going well there. And that's it for now.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Epp.
I got a structural assessment proposal here from Ayers Associates. Basically, kind of what he would do is he'll come out, just look at kind of the problems that we're having already, look at the brick, look at the facade, look at the roof, And then just put a 1, 2, 3, 4 priority list of what we need to do in steps to take care of the brick, which spots, all that jazz, but put a priority list of what we need to hit first on the building and start going through it. And then if he thinks there needs to be some more investigation done, he'll propose that as well. And he'll bring, his proposal would then be a couple days, and he'd bring an architect down, and he'd bring another guy out to look at some things deeper, if they seemed warranted, so. But I kind of told him we just wanted a priority list at first. This is something that we could probably do under a UOCOG mini grant. They pay for half of this if we decided to go forward with this. We could also reach out and see if we wanted to hit up another engineering firm to see if we wanted somebody else to look at this and do the same thing, and just kind of give us an assessment of where we're at, so we know next year where do we spend the money, what do we have to fix first. So that's kind of what this is. So I just wanted to bring you forward. I won't put this on the agenda till we're ready to move forward with this, but I wanted to get it in your hands and talk about it a little bit here, and then we can discuss it at a future meeting.
I would say if you're gonna try to do a mini grant on it, probably need to put in for that pretty quickly, and need to have the approval on that before you move forward to be able to get that reimbursement.
Okay. CCI conference, I got all the stuff made for you guys. I do need the receipts printed out for the conference though. So if you could print those out for me, they emailed them to you. So if you could print those out for me sometime today, and then I'll put the code, the cost code and stuff on that for Jen. The 23 audit is posted on our website. 25 draft budget is posted. Started working on going through, we're about $932,000 over revenue, expenses over revenue. So what we have to do is break into our cash reserves to make up the difference. So Kevin and I started going through it on Tuesday to start basically nickeling and diming departments and going through and see where we could cut. We've talked to some departments about expenses and stuff, so found some other mistakes that were made in there, some doubling up on some stuff, so we're starting to whittle it down. The 25 proposed budget, right now we have on the calendar to be adopted on December 11th. So I think that's all I've got.
Thank you, sir. I think the weed board, I met with them this last week, and they have voted on their changes to the bylaws. I will put them on, if I can get those on next week's agenda for us to approve.
Okay.
And we have been, Brittany from Fremont County did get her invoice into us on that. Had some left over there to go towards cost share above that, and then the rest of the cost share will come out of our budget on that. Probably that's all I'll have for today. Other than the couple of letters that I brought forward earlier. Dan, do you have anything for us?
I do.
Thank you, sir. Kelly?
No.
And I keep getting kicked off of Zoom. I need to see if Max made it back on or not. I do not see him. I'm back up now. He did say he had to step out, that he might be back in a few minutes.
And before you go on, then, I just noticed that Dwayne McFall sent the letter to us with their signatures on it. So I'll print that off when we're done and
Okay.
sign that.
Okay,
Okay,
makes sense.
that'll work great. Thank you, sir. Would you like to move ahead or wait for Max?
Let's move ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, let's move ahead.
And skip that for now.
Yeah,
Okay,
He's zooming in.
yeah.
Max is gonna zoom. He was here at the beginning and had to step away when we were having problems. We can come back when he comes back online. Sheriff gonna be here today?
Don't know.
I don't see your CCI thing.
No, you didn't see a receipt for it?
When did you do it? Yesterday, right?
No, I did it Monday.
Oh, Monday,
I
okay.
think I did it Monday. I finished everything Monday. You don't see it, Tom.
Well, I haven't gone far enough down from. Oh, from Weston Reservation, is that what you're looking at?
Well, there'd be that one, and then let me see if I can find you the one from CCI that would be the same. So you should have one.
So you want the Weston one also?
Weston is not a receipt, it's
That's just a reservation.
That we made your reservation, yeah.
All right, I see.
It's a no reply, and it says CCI conference registration.
What date?
Probably
Oh,
the
got it.
21st.
Found it.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, if you could print that out, that'd be great, then I can put which credit card that went on and which code to get it coded to, so.
Okay, waiting for a response back from the sheriff. We do have our treasurer's report, so we will move on to the treasurer.
Again, the self-insurance fund, the 40 fund, we've got $202,000 that we need to make in a budget amendment resolution to transfer over into that. So we need to, it's on our finances list of things to do, so.
Everything else looks good.
What? Oh, I guess I have a question on, I'll have to look into the 1766, that's the miscellaneous collected for the Justice Center. And what that comes from. Do you know, Bill?
It was collected?
Yeah, it was collected, because there's 13,924 as a balance.
Other than, we did set up, one that was a buck a bag or something, I thought, from the landfill.
No, that goes to landfill
Landfill
expansion.
expansion.
Yeah, but I thought there was something else. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know, I'll look into where that comes from.
Anyway, might give $1,000 if you don't know where it comes from.
You can donate
We don't have
anytime you want to.
Yeah, you can do anything we want now.
Just dip it in my pocket.
We have to see what it, see what the check said on it.
Mhm.
Okay, so the sheriff's at the Vail Grant meeting in Canyon City this morning and the FreeCom meeting this afternoon, so he will not be here in person.
Okay. All right.
So let's see what.
Anything else on the treasurer's report?
No, No, I'm good with it.
Oh, I move that we accept treasurer's
I'll
report.
second.
I do have a motion on the floor to approve the monthly treasurer's report for August. Further discussion.
None for me, sir.
I would ask public comment on that, but I can't see anything. Not seeing any hands online. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries.
Well, it's nice to see it start with 7 and come up to 9.
Thank you.
You got it. And let me check with Brad. Okay. While we're waiting on all that, then we will move ahead to the staff reports. Let's go to finance. Looky there, we have somebody sitting in presence this morning.
Good morning.
Hi, Lisa.
Good morning.
See you.
Good morning.
Morning.
Morning. Good morning. Okay, to start, I know what that addition was to the Justice Grant, or to
Oh.
the Justice Center
Why didn't
Fund.
you say so?
That is the AT&T tower lease.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. No, thank you.
So I was able to answer one question today.
That's
I should
perfect.
bow out now.
That's what goes in.
Well,
That's what
it's
goes
good,
in.
right?
That's what goes into.
Okay, so I'm here to report on what I did this month. What I do monthly for the county is I pull down a general ledger detail. So the first thing I do is pull down general ledger detail through the month end that I'm looking through. So my most recent month end that I looked clear through was September 30th, 2024. And then I look at that together with the trial balance and try to identify if there are any unusual balances in the trial balance, and then use the GL detail to determine what happened there.
Okay.
And that way we can identify misclassifications between revenue and expense accounts a lot of times, or if there's something unusual that's in one of the balance sheet accounts, we can identify those and adjust them as we go, rather than trying to do that at the end of the year in a hurry before the auditor comes. It also allows you to have a better picture of where you are in 2024 so far, so that when you're looking at the budget, you can see where you think you'll actually be at the end of the year and use that to determine maybe where you can make budget cuts and things like that.
So on that, what's the trend? Are the departments getting better at putting them in the right spot or not?
I think so. I haven't had a lot of reclassifications. Most of the entries I've had this year for Vernon since July have been reversing entries from the audit process earlier in the year. There have been a few reclassifications, but not many. So it's
people
gotten
learn a
better.
little bit.
Yeah.
It's working.
Yeah.
System's working.
And part of what we've talked about, both Vernon, Lisa, and I, is coming up with a fuel. What's the definition? Every single one of those expense lines, we have a definition for it. And so it's across the board. So even if you'd swap or somebody new comes in, oh, this is what this means.
Easy.
I mean, that's in every other type of book. There's a list of definitions at the beginning for terms or words. So we want to put that together. That's part of our thing, something that we need to do as well, is put that together. So that should help that process out as well.
Yeah. And Department of Human Services is the one that needs the most adjustment right now. The CFMS reports need to be caught up with so that they're reconciling those state reports with the county. So I'll be working on that for the next month. I'm going to pick up those CFMS reports and put together a worksheet for that. I also pulled payroll reports for July, August, and September and did some analysis to compare month to month. There was a small error when people got moved over from salary to hourly, I believe it was, and that did get corrected. I sampled a few individuals and figured how much time they were being paid for to make sure that that's on track now and working correctly. The third quarter 941 reports are being filed this week. Jen got those done yesterday, so the county's all caught up on that. Vernon also provided me with a draft of the 2025 budget, and so I put together a worksheet or a workbook for him that starts with the 2023 fund balances from the audit report. So it's everything the fund has in it at the end of the year. So for the general fund, it would be all of your current assets, basically, minus your current liabilities is what makes up fund balance.
Okay.
So you're starting with that good audited fund balance, and then the worksheet allows you to project where you think you'll be for 2024 and input the budget for 25 so that you can see where you're ending up at the end of 25 for fund balance. And that should help a little bit too to determine maybe where you need to have transfers or something in the budget by the end of the year. I reached out to the auditors and got the adjustments for the fiduciary fund. So they had produced, or they had provided all of the adjustments for the county's funds, but they didn't provide the adjustments for those treasurer's funds, all those that are fiduciary in nature that just get passed through. They do have some adjustments on those that I was able to get from them, and that will help with Virginia's outstanding cash items, I think. Okay. Vernon and I have discussed in the last couple of weeks about the internal control policies and procedures that the county needs to put in place. And then Lucas, Vernon, and I sat down yesterday too and talked about that and kind of came up with what we need to do and how we're going to get those in front of the BOCC so they can be approved. Part of the Colorado Department of Human Services oversight duties are to look at all the county CDHS departments and they look at the audit reports and they look at the findings. And so part of their oversight this year is they want to see how those findings are being addressed by the county and what controls you have in place. So we talked about how we're going to get that information together and provide it to them by, I think it's mid-November. Yeah. They want that information.
So we'll probably have some policies to amend or to approve, ratify, whatever, in this board in the next upcoming meetings. Whether that'll start November, maybe even next, the 30th. So yeah, we'll start getting those. So we kind of prioritize what we need to do first to meet that. And then there won't be the only organization that could come and go. It could be either public health, state public health, or it could be state OEM that does an audit just like this. So if we get prepared for this one and we're prepared then for the others, so the information that they want is basically the same. But my guess is the audit, well, that's not my guess, we know that probably with spending some ARPA money this year is we're going to end up meeting the threshold for the $750,000 for the audit. So we'll have a single point audit this next year, and that's what triggers some of this stuff. And then, so for 24's audit, it's 750,000. That's what triggers the single point audit. And then for the years after, it's going up to $1 million. So we might click out of that. We might not make that threshold. So that'll change some things.
Yeah,
and even lower our costs a little bit for auditing too. So
yeah, that increase in that threshold should decrease audit costs because you don't have to have those federal awards. audited.
Yeah.
The agencies probably still, they are still required to do some oversight of any federal grants that they're passing through. So DHS is the biggest one, and public health, there are probably some,
I know, yeah, probably those three.
yeah. So those HICPUF type grants that come through there, those are likely to have oversight from
Oh, yeah.
state agencies. So anytime a state agency comes, even if you don't have that single audit, and you don't have the single audit report at the back of the financial statements, they'll want to see a management letter or something
Okay.
saying if you had any internal control findings.
Okay.
So, and those should be pretty easy to address. They gave some examples of things they'd like to see, and I think that we'll be able to provide all of that
So we don't have
information.
any internal control issues yet.
No, they're just basing this off of what they read in the audit report and saying, okay, we want to see how you're addressing these findings. And so they want to see things like Board of County Commissioners meetings where you're approving policies, or where you're getting reports from the Department of Human Services or from finance telling you what's going on with the finances. They want to see journal entries that are done on a regular basis to reconcile things, and then they want to see reconciliation. So like the reconciliation that DHS does, they'll want to see how that's done on a regular basis, and the journal entries that go along with that.
Then our interactions with, and the meetings that we have with the finance department. So since I see them on a weekly basis, at least, we'll be able to write that down and say, yep, we meet weekly to talk about the finances of the county. So
With,
like between Vernon and I,
Okay.
or Lisa and
that
I.
we're
So
staying on top of it.
yeah.
Yeah. Now, we discussed providing a written report on a monthly basis too. So something like that would be, if basically when they come, when they come and look at internal controls, they want to see something documented. The rule usually with auditors is if it's not documented, then it didn't happen.
Yeah.
So that's what they're looking for. And I think that's all I have. Did you
And
have some
then on
questions?
UMB, we're getting close to having that.
Yeah.
wrapped up.
And I've got a review. I had a staff person go through, I think she's been through all of 23 and 20. She's gone through to the inception of the UMB cards,
Okay.
I believe.
Okay.
So we just have to go through and we can scan in all those statements because we've marked up the statements. And she's also got a report with the general ledger detail
Okay.
showing what had receipts, what didn't.
Okay.
So we can put that all together for you as well.
Awesome. Perfect, thank you.
Okay, anything else for me?
No, I don't think so.
Okay,
It's good,
Lisa,
thanks.
thank
all right,
you very much.
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I did have one quick one.
Okay.
Audit costs, you said it would go down theoretically. Is that by a lot or a little?
You know, it depends on the auditor, and what I would recommend is finding out what their base cost is for single audit. If they're doing the single audit piece, how much are they charging you for that
Right.
single audit part by
That's what I've
program?
been doing. I've been looking at some of the smaller counties, and the average costs for the audits have gone way up for us. And I wondered if it was proportionally right or wrong, because some of the same size budget counties are running around 16, 20,000, 22,000 to
Mhm.
do the audit. I'm wondering why ours is so high. Yeah, I know the issue, but it shouldn't be that high, I don't think.
And that's something you can go out for proposal, go out for bid, get a
Right.
bunch of bids from different auditors. You can invite there's nothing wrong with keeping your same auditor, but if you go out to bid, it allows you to find out
Well, yes.
how much are they going to charge you for the next 5 years? So it'd be like a construction
Right,
bid.
right.
Here's the scope of the audit. This is what we charge base. And then it would be change orders if something goes beyond scope and it increases the cost. But that way you know what you're paying for. And you also get a number of bids from
Keeps in mind.
other auditors
Right.
so that you
But
can
I do
see.
think keeping
much
an
you're paying.
auditor refreshed all the time is a good thing. That's been my experience. And we've had this one for 12 years, is it, Lucas? or-
I don't know how long
For
we've
a
had
long
it, but
time.
at least since 10.
And so what I was thinking about doing is putting for consideration, doing exactly what you said, consider changing the auditor, at least, or discuss it.
Mhm.
I'll put that on the agenda for next meeting, we have a talk about it. Get some bids, just like she said, because
Mhm.
I don't want to keep paying the high price, just, they've been doing a good job, but we've had them for an awful long time.
Yeah, and that bid process allows you to go out, find out what the different prices are there, but also if, sometimes that process opens your eyes to different ways that the auditor might come in and approach
Sure.
the auditor, things that they see when they look at the
Sure,
financial
just
statements.
because these counties are running around 20 or 30,000, you don't understand exactly what their differences
Right.
are, so it'd be nice to have somebody
Mhm.
do a bid and let's see what we can do.
Yeah.
Later.
Yeah, so I've asked her to reach out behind the scenes and see what she is seeing out there for.
Yeah.
And
Similar.
and then a forensic audit too, and see what that cost is
Yeah.
actually for a year. What is a forensic audit for a year cost?
Yeah, that's, and spot audits once in a while.
And then we talked about an audit.
Internal audit.
Yeah,
Mhm.
an audit policy of, maybe it's 5 years, maybe it's every 5 years, and the fourth year, we go out for 3 bids or 3 quotes
Mhm.
on what the next 5-year
Right.
contract is.
And I think it's time to do that, but let's talk about it next week, next time.
Okay.
If you'll do some more research and help
Okay.
us on that next meeting.
All right, sounds good. Thank
Thank
you.
Okay, next item would be human resources. You have that report in your packet.
I was gonna say,
We have
he-
human
No,
services.
that's HR.
Yeah, he never gave,
That's-
he
that's,
didn't send me a report.
that's,
Oh, my bad.
Um,
I went to human services. Well, we all do that, no?
So, whatever his name is.
Bob.
Bob.
Bob's having some
They can
difficulties
like
right
The
now.
report from Bob is that he is home, but they went in through his wrist for his angioplasty, so he will not be here this week. Hopefully, he will be in at the first of the week next week.
Man, you'll be firing on all 8 cylinders with all these modifications and upgrades, huh?
Well, he's already, I mean, he's
It's-
still in contact. He and I talked last couple of days about extending a deadline for something he's working on, so.
Oh, yeah, okay, gotcha. Okay.
Okay, Dominic.
Sir,
come on
Hello,
up.
good morning.
come on down.
Sign in.
See, you're still with it.
Hello.
Say when. All right. It seems we're doing this at the end of the month. Everything's changed. All right, so last month, was in office 12 out of the 16 days, because 4 days I was out for state training over in the Springs. And they do that as semi-annual, so I was over there in person for that. Scheduled appointments was 55, 2 no-shows, 3 home visits, and then 52 walk-ins. And again, for being out of the office for 4 days, that's a lot. The week after the training, I probably shouldn't have scheduled myself the way I did, like I normally do, because I had 53 people in my office that week, in 4 days. So new power of attorney submitted, that's 14, so we're 221 total. Intent to file submitted, 28. New and increased claims, there was 14. So that puts us at 198 total for new and increased stuff. Supplemental claims was 8, so 70 total. High level reviews, there was just the 1, puts us at 35. Individual unemployability claims submitted, there was 1, so 5 total. 1 of those being favorable, 2 denied, 2 pending. Those 2 are not pending anymore. Total claims was 308 at the end of last month. Burial reimbursements, I've had nobody come in and put in a request for burial reimbursements in a while, so there's no new ones there. VA debt waivers, again, no new debt waivers there, so just those 2. Increase in compensation, so 46 out of the 71 first-time claims, so veterans never filed claims before, so 46 out of those 71 are now receiving benefits and compensation. And again, those are the veterans that the VA didn't know about because VA opted in, not opt out. so they weren't counting us our veteran numbers here in Custer County. So that's, of the 46 of those 71, it's at 64.8%. Again, that number's obviously changed. Increased monthly compensation, we're at almost $110,000 at the end of last month. And again, that's every month, that's the increase. And then retro payments totaling $660,000. And at the time, there was one retro payment pending with DFAS. And again, that's those folks that are veterans that are retired, and they're now above 50%. So DFAS and VBA has to do an audit of their retirement and their compensation. So August 1st of last year to the end of this year, for those veterans service connected or increased, it was at 1.7, just over a little bit over 1.7 million. I will tell you, the next meeting will be at 2 million. And again, I broke down the numbers. So 468,000 of that is going out of the, well, some of it's coming in the counties, part-time residents, but several counties. I think the only one, did we add one? No, not on this one. It's the same counties, same states. Nothing's changed. It's just that Fremont County numbers changed a little bit. So as of the end of last month, about $1.25 million was coming directly into Custer County for full-time residents here. I have my pie chart.
Could you send us your report when you get back to the office?
This one?
Yeah.
I did.
You did?
I sent.
I didn't get any report system.
Wait, are we doing September or are we doing October?
I'm doing September.
Yeah, I sent this one to you.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't see it. So,
Send it all.
Yeah, I'll send it all. I'll send it again though.
Can you send it to me too?
I can't find it, so I don't know. Maybe I did something.
That's fine, I can send it, I've got it. I can send it.
So how many no's did you say this last month?
How many no's?
Two
times
people
did you
outside
say
of
no?
state, outside
Oh,
the county?
I'm not counting those, but there's a lot now.
But there was a lot, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, I understand.
And I, when they reach out to me from, especially in the state of Colorado, if they're reaching out to me from the state, I'm asking them, did you talk to your VSO? And the answer is usually yes. And I'm not getting help. And my buddy, whomever, told me to reach out to you. I'm like, sorry, my caseload is ridiculous. I can't take on anybody else. I said, but I would tell you, go back and talk to your county commissioners and ask them why this individual is getting paid to do a job that they're not doing. So yeah, I don't like telling them no, but there's folks in these positions, and I had that conversation with all these VSOs at the training. I'm like, if your folks reach out to me, understand, my first question is going to be, did you talk to your county VSO? And if the answer is yes, and they're not helping me, I'm directing them right to your county commissioners.
Good job.
So yeah, I think you all know I'm a straight shooter at this point. So we're all veterans, we're supposed to be helping veterans, and that's the conversation I had at the state training too. So if you're getting paid as a veteran, help veterans and do your job. But going over the numbers here, and again, I'll send this to you. I could have sworn I sent to you, maybe I didn't. Favorable stuff, we're at 62 point, and again, this is not real time, this is the end of last month. 62.1%, and then 100, we're at 76, well, 7.6%, I wish it was 76, 7.6%. Active denials, at that time we were at 51, and I will tell you 90% of those, actually, sorry, 60 denials, and then 9 of those I've already got flipped, so we're at 51 active. Of those 51, 10 are legit for various reasons, but the other 41 are all mistakes on the VA's part, and I'm having to push back. So it's frustrating. Pending claims, I was still at the 27.3% as of the end of last month, and it's about the same now, but in real time. But numbers have always changed. There's been some pretty significant successes this month, so it's changed numbers quite a bit.
You're still seeing quite a few new people that
Yes.
have never talked to you. Good.
There's been a few younger veterans coming through that are moving out here. I just had a veteran couple that they're younger that popped in the other day. Another veteran that lives close by Christy and Jeff that popped in to see me. So yeah, we're seeing some younger ones coming through. But yeah, I'm still getting the ones that have been residents here for a while. I know the younger ones are just moving into the county. But yeah, there's still some older veterans that have been here that are still trickling in. With the VAG, so again, I was awarded 30,000, 10% I can use for marketing. As of the end of the month, I had 62 veterans to the tune of about $1,800 with a couple of different things. And then I just put in a reimbursement for all of that, plus some more. Charitable donation, I've added my charitable donation line in here as well, so we can have eyes on that as well.
Okay.
So since I arrived here, I've had 4 charitable donations totaling almost $2,800. I've been able to assist a couple of widows with that money for about $540, so I've got $2,100 available there. And again, the VTF, the VAG, I can't help widows and widows with those funds. It's specifically set aside for veterans. And I'm kind of bound by that. So if anybody does bring me any type of charitable donation, I let them know that money is going to be earmarked for helping widows and veterans, and they know that.
Okay.
With outreach, we had the American Legion meeting on September 3rd. I met with some folks with Rocky Mountain Service Dogs on the 12th, and we were trying to get a veteran set up here with a service dog. So they would have to pay for the cost for the puppy, but all the training would be done for free. And it's right out of Canyon. So I connected them, and hopefully it all worked out. I'm not sure if it did or it didn't. But they wanted a veteran, female, specifically a female veteran in Custer County to get it, and we had a good candidate, so we connected them. Again, I was at the fall training from the 16th to the 19th. We had the POW MIA observance down at the Cliff Lanes with the American Legion, and then that weekend we had the Blues and Brews Festival, so I was out there doing outreach, and I had a few people there. Again, some new folks to the county that connected with me, so I'm getting them started with their stuff. Veterans Coffee Socials every Wednesday, averaging about 10 veterans per week. Didn't have anybody new this week, but we're still getting new folks showing up for that as well.
Is Christy still doing the women's only lecture?
No, we haven't started that yet. That's something we're going to be implementing, and that'll be a once a month deal to start out with. And if it gets traction, then we'll bump it up. But no, we haven't started that one yet.
Okay.
And I'm going to facilitate it, but then I'll get it started and then step back as well as the injunction too, just to get it going. Upcoming, so I say upcoming stuff. We had the updates with the American Legion on October 1st. Was out in Wetmore on the 10th for the coffee and claims clinic out there. We're not getting a whole lot of people showing up. It's usually 2 or 3, and usually they're in there before 12. So my plan now is when I get done there is just to shoot over to McCandless and help the veterans over there with claims and stuff too. So I shot over to McCandless, and I've talked to them before, but I shot over there, and that's the community living center over there, and talked to Rhonda. She's the one that kind of handles the claims over there, but she does more of the non-service connected pension stuff, which I do not do for veterans. I get them service connected, and then that way they're receiving compensation. And again, big words here: compensation and pension. If you're receiving Social Security, that is a federal pension. If you're receiving non-service connected pension, that is also a federal pension, and you can't double dip, so it offsets. If they receive true service-connected compensation for injuries they sustain in service, it doesn't offset again because that's compensation, it's not considered pension. So they're able to collect both. So I talked to Rhonda, and we're going to get something going. And what we're going to do is Trish from Fremont County, since McCandless is in Fremont County, the 3 of us are going to work together on those days that I'm out there in the afternoon and just tag team and help the veterans there. Okay. We did the Care and Share food box. I say we did. It was scheduled for the 12th. We took care of it on the 12th, and that was a good turnout. And we were able to distribute 40 boxes. The 9th of November is the Veterans Day banquet with Valley Bible Fellowship. I know Carol Kennedy is a speaker, and I'm also a speaker. So I have my ream of paper ready to go for my speech. I've been accused of talking a lot, huh? I don't know where people are getting that from.
When is that?
Oh,
It's crazy.
oh.
November 9th.
November 9th,
ninth,
yeah. And it's it's just like last year at the Valley Bible.
That was a good one.
Yeah, it was good. But no, I was asked to speak, so I agreed to speak. So I've told him I will not talk claims. So I'll give folks a little history on me versus talking about claims. So
Sounds good.
yeah. If I condense it, it was 2 reams, but it's just 1 ream.
It's just 1 ream now.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you cutting the
I
budget.
forgot that.
But that's it for last month.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll save all the good stuff from this month for a couple weeks from now.
Okay.
Any questions for me?
I believe so.
When you got your assistant posted yet?
No, because I chatted with Kevin, and I guess we've got to wait for the budget to be officially closed before we post it, because it'll be for the.
It's for next year.
Yeah.
That's for next year.
Yeah, so I've got to get with Bob as well, just to make sure that all the correct verbiage is going to be in the job description before we put it out there.
Yeah, he should be back next week.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, obviously there was a job listing for when I applied, so that'll just need tweaking a little bit, and I just want to make sure all the correct verbiage in there from the HR standpoint is there. But I mean, the job is easy enough to write. Or tailor to fit that individual. But it will be whoever it is. I mean, obviously they have to be a veteran because they're going to be fully accredited as a VSO here in the state of Colorado. So they'll be able to do claims as well. And that's my plan is to mentor so that they'll be running at my same capacity.
Very good. Thank you.
Yep, not a problem. And thanks for allocating the funds for that, because I need it.
No, then we can.
It is.
And I mean, there's certainly a demand for it, because, I mean, I'm still getting new people in, so.
Well, I had some compliments the other day on you, and thank you for working.
That's how
with them,
rumors
and
start.
That's what I heard, so I just said thank you. So,
Is that what you really heard?
that's what I read.
Then it wasn't from my wife.
Yeah.
I always tell them they're all wet, there's no wood there.
I forgot to bring CVA 26, I'll have to bring that back over.
Yeah, I can get it today,
Well, I move to approve the CBA
I'll second.
26.
26.
All righty.
Yeah.
Motion on the floor to approve the report and sign the CVA 26. Discussion.
None for me, sir.
Oh, good job.
Signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. The motion carries. All right, if you don't get over here, I'll get over there.
No, I think I have it printed on my desk, I think I did fill out, just forgot to grab it, so I'll run it right back over. Cool, thank you. Appreciate your time, and I will send this by email, I could have swore I sent it, but thank you, I will send it.
Very much. To take short recess.
Yes, I've got Max responded, I gotta see what I got here from him, and so we'll take a short recess, it's 10:06 a.m.
Okay.
Oh, I had to go look for a couple cows, so.
Yeah, Clyde,
3 cows.
are you coming into the, through the airport report?
That's turned into imagine that. I'm doing that. So one had COVID, so he didn't want to go work for 2 days. And the other guy.
Hey,
Busy.
sorry about that.
We're not.
We were right in the middle of a deal when you called,
Kelly's
so.
in there. Hang on one second. Hold on.
No, not
Let's
a
see.
problem.
You got Clyde's report.
Yeah, so here's the deal, the legality of it is they don't show up. Every 4
I
years.
don't know, that's one that he sent
Did
me.
you send, I think you sent it on the report.
Just
And you
say
said you
sorry,
didn't need to
plan
come.
to send you pictures.
Yeah, he's a written only.
Yes.
Is it on
So you've written, if you need to resend the report, it's for, you sent us the one that was for.
He moves in, she doesn't allow on their behalf. But he probably won't, because
You don't need to
it's
come in.
more of a government system as opposed to.
Get the right report.
You can't wait that long.
All righty, well, thank you, sir.
Or
Well,
taxes.
it's more than labels, it's all of the when it's
All
not
records
reported.
held up.
It started January and everything like that, so.
It's a law.
You got it. All right.
They have to show up. If they don't,
Okay, no
you
worries,
keep
no
going.
worries. See you.
It's a week ago Tuesday, now it's
Oh,
Thursday.
no, you're
I'm
good.
still not here. Wasn't this Tuesday, it was last Tuesday.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
First one, we have not moved forward on, the second one is
Now,
on
the
the agenda.
guys have that concrete scheduled for Tuesday, on Monday.
There you go.
I've got,
See the
for
ripple?
the backfill.
Yeah, see the ripple there?
All righty.
See how that destroys the work
Uh,
progress?
Try to keep
That's
you
why I moved.
informed here, I'll give you a holler a little later.
I deal with that in Denver.
You betcha, yeah,
Doing
I'm glad that
$1
went well.
million development.
All righty.
That's why I know the law. Because you can't get held up. You cannot slow down.
Now there's-
Bob will be in on Monday.
You have it ready before Monday.
Bob will be back on Monday.
Midday, you don't have an inspection yet. Good. How am I gonna do
And
it
Matt
on Monday?
is not.
I
You
can
got
do
lights
it.
on.
If I work, yeah, I got lights.
Yeah.
Work Saturday.
What is that?
Work Saturday.
Do we wanna table that till
We don't have any oopsie daisies up here in the corner, well,
meeting?
that's why I'm so fed up.
I think he needs to be here.
Yeah.
If we're gonna get some lots away.
Yeah,
And then we check.
why don't we do that? He's just not, there's no way he'd be here today or is dealing with stuff from that meeting yesterday.
That's fine.
Had to put on more hats.
Okay.
So, I'll know that and move to put that on, or just
Yeah, see, he is licensed with his state.
get it put on next.
He's not gonna rock it though, because then he's gonna get beat up the whole time, from here on out. Where the contractor is, needs to go, wait a minute,
Renegotiate. Or
cannot cause this much
reschedule with it.
disruption.
Right, maybe we should do
I
that.
understand.
Reach
Okay,
out to him.
I'll just reach out and.
It's in the snow. Good time to
You
get
have
it
a
done.
plan now?
I got covered.
I think so. Everybody ready to go again?
Roger.
Okay. All right, the time is now 10:10 a.m. I'll reconvene this meeting of the BOCC. And a couple of notes, spoke to Bob here. He will be back on Monday. And then Max Hansen will not be available today, so I think I would like to reach back out and reschedule with him on that agenda item. So
Good idea.
if we can just reschedule that one, I'd appreciate it. Okay, next item would be road and bridge.
Oh, oops, we got the corner here.
Oh, my bad, after
So
I
he can
got
get
you in
back
here.
to Doing what he's woke me up.
Let's go back up and.
Not donut
do
to be
the-
had.
Brad, come on up,
Wait.
sir. My apologies too, we kind of rescheduled this month.
Good morning, yeah, no, I didn't.
Budget stuff and.
Thanks, Brad.
Morning. Morning. Didn't know, I'm sorry.
You're good.
I didn't know I was up today, so.
I sent you an
You did?
Did not see it.
It could be me.
email. I sent everybody an email.
And more than likely
showing
was,
us.
Brad.
I never, honestly, I never saw it. I usually do your request for written prior. I never saw it, so. I don't know where that went.
We're all,
By the way.
And I honestly hate to come in and waste your time if I don't have a whole lot to tell you, so
Well, then don't.
I can,
Tell us what you
I
got.
can tell you what I got. I'm here. I'm here now, and I thought,
Well, thanks for coming in.
I don't see any donuts, but
I appreciate you coming in.
sorry, no donuts today. Crap. So,
I heard there's some over at the voting station, so you may wander over there. So, we had a busy weekend last weekend, as you know.
mhm.
We lost one of our paramedics. We were there for that, of course. And then Sunday, we had a death from a lady from out of town. So we had a full weekend. And I've been on the phone with family from California to Florida for this fella.
Coast to coast.
And yeah, everywhere in between, but lots going on there, so it's unfortunate, but not much to tell you about that. So I do have a radio order put together that I'm working on, and I talked with Lucas about this yesterday. They want the radio in my truck that we inherited never had been programmed to our channels. So I've got a radio I can't talk to the sheriff or anybody on in my truck, brand new radio in the truck, and had never been programmed. So I got a quote to program it, which is $200, and that's not unreasonable, but they want $720 to come down for transportation fee to come here and program it. So it's a $920 bill to do, and I thought, that seems unreasonable. So I'm considering if I have business in Denver at some point, maybe I'll drive the truck up there, and it'll cost the county a tank of gas rather than $700. So I'm gonna put that on hold until I could make a plan for that. I don't see any reason to spend $700 or $720 for them to come down and do it, unless they're coming for other reasons, and I can,
And I'll,
piggyback and.
as I talk to the OEM and the sheriff, and we get a plan on all the radios, because I think there's gonna be a complete reprogramming, public health, all of them, so.
I heard we may go encrypted on a bunch of our stuff, so.
Yeah, so, that would be the great time to do it, but you may, whenever that time is, if that's 6 months out or 3 months out, you may just decide, it's not worth it, I need to go up and get
Yeah,
it done, so.
I'm pushing 2 years into this and it hasn't happened yet. I've been told that every time that we're gonna get this down and we're gonna do this, and then so far it hasn't happened.
It
So
might be
You might
worth
need to
just
pull
running
through
it
by
up. or-
yourself.
I might just get it done, but
Yeah.
I think rather than spend that kind of money, I'll go up and get it done myself. So I've heard rumor that the fire department has somebody that can do it, and I've looked into that, and I haven't gotten any positive response yet, so.
No, I'd say go get it done correctly to
Yeah.
what you need.
Yeah, so outside of that, everything's going well, and our suicide rate's double what it last year was so far. And we are at 20 deaths that I've attended, not counting hospice. And last year we only had 18, so we're up 2 so far, and we've got a couple months to go.
Okay.
So we are trending higher. So other than that, I don't have anything else for you.
No, well, thank you.
You betcha. Appreciate it, gentlemen.
Good job there.
All right, thank you for coming in.
You betcha.
Short notice
Glad
like
to.
that, I
No
appreciate it.
problem, sorry. I'll knock everybody's computer out.
Okay,
Gentlemen,
that one seems to get it.
appreciate it. Thanks, sir.
See if we invite you.
Yeah, I know.
She's
Oh, we'll have donuts.
all pushed over in the corner, aren't you? Anyway,
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Thank
all right, Brad.
Yeah.
Good luck on that.
Thank you.
Okay, now let's go to Road and Bridge. I would add to this, Wetmore has been hauling some gravel from the pit down to their stockpile as well. So they're getting a little gravel. I had gotten a call from an individual on 271, and it was right after they went out and worked that road, but some of the washboards came back in. I think I believe they've been out there again since then.
Where is 271?
271 is, takes off there at Bear Basin,
That's what I thought.
and then
Yeah, the,
goes through Ilse.
I saw him doing that, it was out that way. It looked like it was doing a good job, but then you could still see the valleys and the, one cut deep enough. It'll look to me.
So. You probably received the same phone call I did.
Right.
Anything else on the road and bridge? Vince has given us all some road counts, some traffic counts on some of the roads.
A lot of traffic, a lot of speed.
He came in, because he did 341 last, because that wasn't in that first report, and he came in yesterday, wasn't it? And said he, 431 cars for an average on that road a day.
Mhm.
It's a lot of people. But,
Yeah, and we had to cut $100,000 out of their budget this year, for next year, so.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that.
Yeah.
anything else?
No.
Okay. Planning and zoning.
This is written only, right?
Yes.
Yes. It was, the one just prior to Road and Bridge.
Yeah, I got it.
We're down $240,000 in total receipts for this year over last year. So less general fund money and less capital improvement revenue. The building is down. And so is septics.
By 27.
Covered a lot of this in our budget discussion with us. I'm good with it.
Our compliance issues continue to grow.
Yes, they do.
I think we need to schedule a workshop with planning and zoning.
It wouldn't hurt to have a, maybe, I don't know what to call it. It'd be a workshop, but we need to have a briefing to the community on requirements. You know, people who come in, some people don't understand and they start digging, not out of maliciousness or trying to sneak around. Some do sneak around.
Well, I think there's two issues. One is educating the public. One is talking with planning and zoning about how we are going to start addressing some of these that are just being ignored or nothing's happening, because you get to a point where, I mean, to be honest with you, I've heard of 2 or 3 of these But you get to a point where a lot of this probably needs to be referred to me.
Agreed. You wanna
Yes.
set that up?
Yes.
Okay.
Any particular date you guys would like?
Maybe a Wednesday afternoon,
Yeah, after me.
after a meeting.
All right, I'll check with her on the 30th. 1:30,
Yeah.
Good.
and I'll let you know if that works. If not, I'll get a date, and come back to you guys. I'll check with her today. Anything else on that?
No, sir.
Airport.
He resending the report. That was last month's report.
It is.
I called him during the break. So
Okay.
it's identical to, so he said he'd get right on it, so he'll come being in here.
All right.
Okay. So we can skip that until he gets here then. Landfill.
Just waiting for WSP to address the comments from Jill Parisi. And maybe we'll have the compactor beginning November.
Yep, that keeps going then.
Yeah. Carry on, carry on.
That's good. That won't come any too soon.
And the compactor's coming anyway, huh?
Yeah, I think he was originally hoping by the end of this month, but
Beginning of November. So.
okay, let's go
All right.
to
What we got?
recycling. We got
Price is still the same, 110 for cardboard, 70 per ton for mixed paper, 81 cents per pound for aluminum right now, 130 per ton for steel. Total year to date through September is 25,000. And then we got eight bales of aluminum to deliver in October, at the end of the month. And then at the end of the year, they're gonna try to calculate it all out and see how much of a trench we didn't fill. So,
add it all up.
add it all up.
Quite a jump from August on.
Yeah, we got quite a bit. We thought it'd start slowing down in September, and it roughly hasn't, so it's good. People are putting it there instead of on the ground. Put it in the ground, maybe somewhere else, but at least it's not in our ground. I don't know. That's all I got.
Alrighty. And their trailers look nice.
Yeah.
Well, comments on it.
Didn't let Bill paint one. Bill
No,
didn't want to paint
would have
one.
been good.
You could have put your handprint on it.
Yes,
I think mine's on one of them out there.
Is it?
Yeah, I did it with the girls, so. Put my handprint on one.
Well, there you go.
human services.
Now we can go to human services. That's the one I had pulled up earlier.
I think everything's normal to me compared to what it was. Let's see.
Have you gentlemen looked at the report that comes from the state?
Which one?
One we got about a week ago on human services. Comes every month. That you're gonna make me give you the name of it.
I saw it, but I didn't read it. I
Yeah,
saw
get-
it. I
get
caught the
specific,
top part
because-
of it. It was pretty broad about the big picture thing, so I didn't get into it.
Yeah. It's the report on the reports that they do, the contacts that they make, and all of that, so. The C-stat is what it. We got that on the 17th. The ones where they, with their lack of contacts on some of those, if you miss one of those, it throws you completely out of kilter on the grid. It'll put you right out of compliance.
Who was that sent by?
CDPHS, I believe, let me see here, 17th. First one is County CSTAT, CDHS, and then the other one starts with CDHS, and that's the one with the,
I didn't get that. Could you forward that to me?
Yeah.
Please. Thank you.
that gives you guys a little bit of a snapshot of what happens. We need to get your email on that so that you can see it.
Okay, we got it.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know. Verify.
There you go, sir.
Who was it from?
CDHS, county, state, and state. CO. Let me give you a dashboard for them.
No, I don't have. I got the other, I got something else.
All right,
Regarding
cool.
it.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll give that to you.
Send it to
then.
me too, because I don't, it's got a request here for access to it.
Yeah, if you
I
get
must
the
have-
wrong one, you have
Is this
to
the meeting
you have to
notices?
log in,
into the
but the other
table.
one,
dashboard, is that what it was?
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess I was on it, because I see it now.
okay, the one I just sent you is one you can see without having to log in.
Okay,
Okay. Just so you guys are aware on that,
No.
you can take a look through that. They have a couple, I would say, visits on the child visits or something like that, for the check-ins where, I think because of short staff, they have not quite met the criteria on that to meet the goal. But then another one of those shows you where they have met all the requirements in there, so it gives you a good shot on that. Anything else on human services? Okay, IT.
We brought in, Amnet Cyber Services, we contracted them to get the Tyler connection going with the sheriff's office, and their conclusion was the same as Vernon's. It's a problem that's back on Tyler, so we've met everything and we've done everything that we can do, including now hiring a third-party contractor to review it and go through it. And there's still, so it's back on Tyler. It's a Tyler problem, so. Otherwise, new computers, we've got a couple, 2 or 3 applications for the IT tech, so Vernon's going through those. Got the new Xerox machines in place, and just helping everybody with their connectivity to those. And then slow computers and
Slow computers.
whatever else
Once
we
they
got
hooked up,
going on.
part of that this morning, was coming back as a bandwidth problem. So we need,
more bandwidth,
We need-
need that
we need
to get
broadband
done sooner
service.
than later.
be nice if we could get that thing off the ground, huh?
Yeah, it's going.
You're gonna have to get you your own satellite dish, Kevin.
Mounted on that, on my truck.
Yeah,
Might be too big for this one. I could use my phone, I guess. Anything else on IT?
no. Other than we need to get somebody in here to help.
Yeah.
But it, yeah.
Robin, perfect timing.
I called her for her grant.
But she has a written
Unless you
report.
want to hear her written report.
Yeah, I am here if you want to, but
Okay.
nothing earth shattering.
Just a question on the radios. When are we gonna get those reprogrammed, all of them?
Well, I gotta finish the inventory.
Okay,
I had a success story yesterday, and that is that we found a radio that belonged to CDPHE. So we got that returned to them.
okay.
So we're plugging ahead.
The Colorado Department or our public health?
Colorado.
Okay.
So, but we'll work with the sheriff's office and anyone else that needs that programming. We still need a template. So,
Okay, so you're working on the template?
well, we're gathering all the templates, because you have to
Okay.
work on the template, meld them all together, decide that there's some channels everybody should have.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are other channels that each
Department.
department, you know, talking about encryption again, over at
Okay.
the sheriff's office, so yes. We're still working on it.
Okay.
Yeah, the reason for that question is we just were talking with Brad, and he's got a radio in his truck that's been in there for 2 years. He can't talk to anybody on because it's not been programmed with the proper channels, and it's 2 years out now. So we kind of we were trying to figure that out, or if he's gonna need to go out on his own and just get it programmed.
Our plan was to have a programmer come down from CCC Communications.
Yeah, we pay one fee
One
and
fee.
they do all the radios at one
Yeah, we
time.
have it, we were planning on doing, the plan was to have them come in the morning, have afternoon sessions scheduled, have evening scheduled, and then the next morning, so we pay for them to stay overnight as well.
Mhm.
So, we're just not there with the template, and my friend in Fremont County told me it's gonna be 2.5 years before you can figure it all out. There's just so many variations with the template and the, fact that we didn't have a good inventory when I came here, so it's just taking a lot longer than I thought it would, but my colleague said, no, that's pretty average.
Okay.
So we'll keep plugging on it, but we certainly could have Brad just take the truck up there to CCC.
Okay.
I can talk to him about it.
Yeah, that might be what he needs to do if he's doesn't have any communication that way.
Yep.
Thank you.
Sure.
We didn't get one from CSU either.
We threw some people off by changing date, even though we sent them communications.
Maybe.
That's okay.
Habits are hard to break.
So what's the latest been on our application for the chipper?
Nothing new on that. We submitted the grant.
And that gets awarded, what, next spring,
February,
February? Okay. So
But they
still
accepted it, as far as you know, the application.
Yep.
Okay.
Anything else on that, gentlemen?
No.
No.
Right, and nothing from CSU. You said an airport was coming in?
The report will be, let's see if it, I don't think it's got, he hadn't sent it yet. He was out, he was getting back into the computer and gonna send it, resend. We should get it all at the same time.
No, his bandwidth is slower than ours.
Yeah, I guess there are exceptions.
Yeah, if I get back. If I could get back on Zoom. Lucas would still be looking out the window.
That's right.
Okay, let's go ahead and move on to new business. Of course, we're postponing the 7 lots, so let's go to the AIM mitigation grant.
Good morning.
Good morning. Sorry about that.
See ya.
Morning.
Ashley?
Did want to start the meeting by saying that the Colorado wildfire risk for our county for moderate, high, or very high, 68% of Custer County is at moderate, high, or very high risk.
29% are at lower risk, and 3% are at next to no wildfire urban interface risk. So the goal of the mitigation programs is to make our community safer through reducing fuel load. So this is why the AIM grant can help support all the other activities. The AIM grant is Action, Implementation, and Mitigation. It is a federal grant. It is through coalitions and collaborations, and is really a companion grant to things like the furworm grant that we just applied for with the chipper. Originally, I sent you a concept paper that I'm going to revise because we think we might be able to get a donated trailer for our equipment. So I'm going to take that out of our original AIM project and dial that back to just the personnel costs. And that will address the safety concerns that we heard from one editor in the paper about safety of the chipper. And so to address that, this position would cover all mitigation events. This would be a county paid or volunteer trained person who would run the chipper, who would go to the ambassador events, who would go out and interface with neighborhoods and talk about how they could potentially make shaded fuel breaks. They could improve their roadways along the side of the road in those private communities. So this is, again, to help the community to reduce the amount of fuel load on the ground. And I'm sure all of you know that not everybody can wield a chainsaw, not everybody can get out there and fix their yards. So what we want to do is provide resources so that people can utilize this chipper, take that slash, and have that appropriate staff supervision. So here is the budget and the budget narrative. I also have a piece of paper here with the Colorado wildfire risk. I don't know if that's something that can be included in the report.
Sorry, I thought it was the whole thing. Just passing it around.
Yeah, you get one, Dan. You're special. So you may have looked at this in advance, I hope, trying to give you as much time as possible, but you know how these grants all come out this time of year. It is difficult to sift through and decide all of those elements and eligibility. So this is personnel to go out and really work with the community, to get people motivated, because it sometimes does take a little bit of motivation to get the mitigation done.
So it's one guy.
One person, yeah. It's a 3/4 time, and non-benefits if it's part-time. We can add benefits, they do pay for fringe benefits.
I know, I know most counties have a mitigation department, basically. Have you looked at that? Is it similar?
It is similar. Probably our closest county is Huerfano. They have a mitigation specialist, and they are mostly field driven. And I've worked with him some. They do have a chipper, and I think that was probably a result of spring fire. So it's that, unfortunately, sometimes it takes a fire to get that awareness, and that's not what we want, but we want to get it going before we have a fire, so the fire's hopefully not as bad.
And I did also talk to Vernon about the budget, since obviously there is a 50% match, and so that would have to come from the budget, which is a fenced budget, and so there is more in the budget than what was presented for expenses for 2025.
More revenue.
More
Or
revenue.
expense
Yep,
In that. yeah,
revenue over expenses in the
in that
emergency
line item,
service
Yeah.
60 fund, yeah.
So how does this play with the PILT money we have for fire mitigation?
The Title III.
Yeah, what, we have 80, 90K, and it varies.
There's, part of that money goes in the general, and the other part goes into road and bridge. So we need to dial down on exactly what that can be used for. But it sounds like that's mostly used for wild and fire mitigation stuff. So, but we need to find out what the exact criteria for that is. But it's, from what I understand, it looks like it's more of a grant program. We get this money, but then we're supposed to go out there, the commissioners, and get people to, hey, I'm gonna do this, but it's to this criteria, and we award out of that dollar amount. So it's not something that we just get to use for whatever, so.
Right.
And I have talked to Virginia and Vernon. Vernon was not really well versed on it, but we looked at the website together and talked a little bit about how certainly Road and Bridge needs their portion, that the general fund, can be supported by that, but there is then a separate section that is supposed to be for first responders. And that first response agency can do things like programs that you're talking about, whether it's like 50% mitigation, hiring contractors. There are other grants that are out there that other agencies are looking at as well, and being able to provide that, because certainly it's sure a lot easier when you snap fingers and hire a contractor, kind of like pointing at the junk, making it go away. But if you don't have the funds,
Well, and we can do that on private property, or public property, but I can't just snap my fingers, hire a contractor and say, go on that person's
We're
property.
not in the business of competing with the contractors that do it for a living.
Well, it would be
And we can't
hiring
be
them.
using taxpayers' money to go fix up somebody's place.
Well, and that's the issue that I see with the sentiment here. And that might be, if it was an application based on some criteria, which the programs that I'm trying to get going are aimed at people who cannot afford it or cannot physically do it. That way, partnering with Department of Human Services, partnering with Veterans Service Office, so that if there was an application process. Now, there is other programs around the state. For example, Larimer County has a grant program, and they have been running that about 2 years now, up to $5,000 per household application. They can only apply once a year. I mean, they have some criteria. But I mean, there might be other strategies that we might be able to use some of the PILT funds for. Virginia said she didn't think it could be matching for salary, going back to our original conversation.
But we need to dig into the details of it, so I'll be working with Lisa on that, with those Title III, and getting to the bottom of it, talking to some other counties and see what they do with theirs.
We have in the past, I know, we had a couple of different subdivisions that had went together, they had put together a mitigation plan on their own and came to us for some of those dollars, and we awarded those dollars for a couple of projects.
Okay.
And they cut it, and they did it.
Okay. All right.
Something to be aware of is that those do expire September 2026.
Yeah.
current funds.
That's right. So I'm all for something, I know that the federal government wants to do this because they would rather pay to mitigate it than they would pay the cost of building a new home and, or if it's been burned down or paying the insurance costs.
Right.
Or the floods or whatever. But it's still taxpayer money and we gotta be careful how we spend it.
Mhm.
And if it, and if it's a mitigation bill it, then it depends on the grant.
And there is quite a few requirements as far as going out for public comment
Right.
and having public meetings to get input on how that's being spent. So it would not be done in a vacuum, and I'd be willing to help.
I know,
Post those.
I know you know this, but Butch Washington, your previous OEM, did a pretty good job of getting the public to come to briefings on this and get them excited about working to clear their own properties, not just poor people, but everybody, and poor people, of course, that can't afford it. Because, you know, they border people that are taking care of their property as well, and if they're taking care of it over here and they're not, the surrounding areas aren't somehow mitigated too, then their place still gonna burn down.
Definitely, the economy of scale
So-
is going for the
So it's
neighborhood.
important to do it.
Yeah, going
Really.
for the neighborhood. We have 6 ambassadors right now.
But I don't want, you know, the county can't afford to be the guy, a business competing with everybody else, you know, or providing a service. That people are gonna say, okay, well, the county's gonna help me out, and we'll just get this done, that we've got to motivate them to do it.
Mhm.
And to come together on programs at a subdivision level where they got guys with chainsaws can help do it, because to their benefit to volunteer to do it.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's why we have the Neighborhood Ambassador Program. We have 6 ambassadors right now, which is awesome. We have a couple more that are in training this month, and so,
I think we need to do that.
well, we are doing it. Those ambassadors are now working together, but strategically making those decisions about, okay, are we going to reward people who are in a FireWise program? Because they've taken it to the level of, I'm going to not only mitigate my whole neighborhood, but I'm going to do home assessments, I'm going to do a community assessment, and then I'm going to do an annual mitigation days. That's the gold standard we want people to adhere to, because mitigation's not a one-time thing. You know, that brush comes back and you've got to do it, you know, every other year at least. And so there's a lot of education to be done. We do have a lot of education programs. I went to 8 HOAs this summer, their annual meeting, trying to drum up that business for the ambassador, who could then be that point person. Much easier to deal with one person per neighborhood. We do have the outreach grant, working with Reggie Foster to do that outreach. And in the spring, we'll be doing a mailer to all the HOAs. So yeah, we have plans to definitely get going. And we hope that this is a grassroots program, that those neighborhood ambassadors will then work with their neighborhoods and say to us, this is what we need. We need a grant, so that I'm not writing a grant trying to make the program. I'm writing a grant saying, these are the needs of the people. We're writing that grant to support those needs. So we're getting there. We're picking up momentum. And one of our CES members said, wow, you've done a lot in a year. So we're definitely on track for really getting these programs going. But it will take, back to my request for the AIM grant, more focused time on mitigation, growing that program.
I believe from our conversation right now, your paper is due, but the grant itself application takes place when?
December. So the concept paper, which I will revise a little bit and take that piece of trailer equipment out of there, will be submitted today, if you approve the grant, and then we'll find out in December if we're asked to apply and put in an application with more specificity.
So what we would be looking at today is for you to move forward with it, but you're not actually you don't actually have the grant in hand for us to approve, correct?
We're not approving the grant, we're approving.
We're approving-
Concept.
We're approving the.
Yeah, the concept
I
paper.
want to make that,
Correct,
make sure everybody's aware of that.
right.
Any other questions, gentlemen?
And we've not done this one before, it doesn't sound like.
I don't
the
think so.
Things that we've done in the past are similar.
Yeah, I don't think we've had an AIM grant that I'm aware of.
Is there any, because we keep adding this, and this loads up on HR and finance department, is there any, I can't, the word's not coming to me.
Administrative.
M&A, or what I call it,
Yeah.
maintenance and administration. You can for projects. I can go back and look at that for how we would add load to a personnel person.
Because if we're hiring somebody, so from the recruitment of that person to the retirement of that person, not whatever that looks like, end of the year, whatever. You know, we've got costs for HR, and then we got costs for finance in there, and then we got costs for auditing, because we're gonna hit the single point audit.
Yeah, Vernon and I discussed that, and how maybe in the future, when we do the budgeting, we look at the cost centers and be able to have a formula.
Mhm.
Because I think that's what would be helpful, is to have a standardized formula.
Yeah, because I could add an easy 10% onto that, because that's probably what it's gonna.
That's what it's, I was gonna ask that question, is he's hitting the nail on the head. $34,320, how'd you get that in the first place?
Took the total number of working hours per year, 2,080, and made it 3/4 time, 32 hours a week.
Need to get somebody to do that? Good. And then the indirect costs need to be
So
in
she
there.
said, no, so I'm hearing 32 hours a week. And you also said no benefits. When we hit a 30-hour a week threshold, we are required to furnish benefits at that point. Correct?
Yeah, we got to.
So that changes that whole thing there.
It does. The benefits are 12%.
Yep.
Plus 13,000 for insurance.
Yep, roughly that.
Yeah, so that would bump that up to approximately 51,000. So half of that would be 26,000 for 50% match.
Yeah, so if you took that number times 10%, you got another 5,000. It's got to be split amongst HR and finance. And I would guess it's probably pretty close to that.
But the budget worksheet has a line item for that,
For
isn't that filled
Yeah,
out?
it's, she just didn't put it in.
Yeah, so we need to add that in there.
Yeah.
So at least we
Okay.
get 2/3.
Yeah, we should go for that.
Okay.
We should go for the full amount then.
Sounds good.
Then it'll be funded by our match of where, from where?
From emergency services.
60 fund.
So it's on mill levy line.
Right.
Still general mill levy, but.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, if you could make those changes.
I'll make those changes and submit them as soon as I get back over to the office.
Okay, so I move that we approve the application. We're not approving the grant yet.
No, grant will come in.
Concept
The
paper.
concept.
Paper. Let's see what it yields and let's see what our budget is.
Okay, I'll second.
So motion on the floor to approve moving forward with the concept paper for the AIM grant. As discussed here today with those modifications put in place. Further discussion. Public comment? Seeing none. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
You can get those changes put in and,
Yep, I'll send it to you on email.
okay.
My email,
Thank you.
Thanks.
Is it slow or?
better than text,
Okay,
so thank you.
thank you.
Everybody good?
Yeah.
Okay, next item up on our agenda would be changing county attorney. Will you brought that?
Yeah, I did. Therefore, I move that we change the county attorney effective, I want to say immediately, but now pending whatever Dan's got working today, it has to be completed. You have a lot you're finishing up on anything. If we pass it.
Well, I mean, part of the problem is by statute, he's got to be there for DHS,
I know.
right? So
That's that's the discussion we need to have.
we're not in a place until we have somebody to replace him with.
Right.
We can't.
But we gotta get to the discussion so we can work that, that's what we're all moving. So we move that we consider changing it and work through the process of doing that, but I do have a interim candidate in mind that I would proffer, once we approve the change moving forward, that would be the interim to fill in as soon as possible. And so Dan would have to continue till that point.
Yeah, it would absolutely happen.
Yeah.
And both here and DHS.
Right.
Wouldn't want it any other way.
So when I say immediately, it means we're gonna act on it as well. So if you wanna reword that, we can do that.
We don't have a motion, I don't have a second, but
That's why I want to make sure the motion's correct is all. Before you.
Well, if you want to make a motion to investigate, or you want to make a motion to change county attorneys, just leave it at that.
That's what I'm doing. I move that we change county attorneys.
Okay, I'll second.
okay, so I have a motion on the floor to change the county attorney. Discussion. We have a situation that has arisen. I think I am of the opinion that it can be resolved by, I would put forth that we would have continue to retain Dan's services as our attorney and then move forward with pursuing another county attorney for DHS services.
But you're not addressing the motion. The motion was to consider doing it. That's an option that would be considered.
And during discussion, that's why I'm putting that forth. And that is an option that I am putting forth during the discussion of your motion, sir.
Well, maybe we should put it into two different motions. One's because they're two separate contracts. One deals with Dan Slater as DHS attorney, one as our county attorney.
Well,
To be clear, it's actually technically 3 contracts, because DHS is split into child support enforcement and then non-child support enforcement.
let me restate this again. To change the county attorney, you actually can find a county attorney that can do all those. That's part of That's what we need to understand.
Well, so
So-
because I don't know of this interim person and don't know anything
That's
about this interim
right.
person, I don't know what kind of a motion I want to make.
That's right.
Or approval of a motion, because I don't, is this person willing to do this?
Right.
Or is this
So that's
person
what
willing to do
that's
this?
my point. You're missing the thing.
Okay.
We made a motion to consider doing that, and in order to do that, we have to go look at what the next steps are. So I think we should change the county attorney. If it means changing for half of the county or not, we gotta go get the information on that. We also need the person that might be an interim for us to consider, to look at, to see if that meets the qualifications or not. If none of those turn out, then we don't do it.
Okay,
Well, but
we
the
also
motion
have
is-
to put.
So what's
The
read the
motion is
motion back to me, please.
The-
Can you read that, please, Kelly?
The motion is to change the county attorney.
Right.
Okay, so that is the motion, not to consider this or that. The motion is to replace the
Well-
county attorney, is the
Well-
motion on the floor.
But we're splitting hairs there. I mean,
That's
I
right.
think
Well-
it's-
So that's what we want to consider. The next step, then if we vote to do that, then we proceed on working, what does that mean? We change the whole thing, that's part of the process.
So do you want to change your motion to, let's consider changing county attorney and let's figure out what?
Well, that's what would happen when you do that.
Okay.
To do that, and so if we're gonna we have to move forward. That's all this motion
Right.
is doing,
Right.
because there are reasons to do that.
Well, I
I'll get into
understand.
the specifics,
Right.
don't have to.
Exactly right.
So, and how it does, it is gonna play out and what's available. If there's somebody available now that's adequate, I don't know for sure, but I do have a candidate, and there may be others. And in the end, you wanna go out and you put during that time, we can decide to put a request on and publicize for a county attorney.
Right.
And it could involve DHS, it could involve all three, it could be separate guys,
Right.
or it can be one person. It depends on what we find out, but we have to start. Might be,
I get what you're saying.
and then the next meeting that we would have would be, it could call a workshop or a special meeting to address those things.
Right. we
Publicly, this is a
right.
public thing.
Right,
It's
we
not a
definitely
closed
need to
session.
do an RFP and put it out there publicly.
But you go for the end game.
Right.
But in the meantime, we can't stop doing business.
Right.
We have to continue operating DHS. If we have an interim person that can step in at some level, at either the county level or the DHS level or both, let's see what it is before and then make that step to hire them or not.
Okay.
I still think that we probably should be visiting these as different contracts because they are different contracts.
The contract is, in all cases, is just an hourly rate. And we can elect to continue paying it. And it's the same guy in this case.
Well, so it is.
We're all three right now.
No, this is all hourly rates, that's what the contracts are. It's a contract, it's not personnel action.
As a blanket motion, I don't believe I can support that. At this time, I think we need to be looking at them because separately, because I think that the issues can be solved if we just change part of that and not all of the contracts.
Would you concede to that?
No. Okay. I think we need to go the way.
Wholesale?
And work it as we hit them. Those are three separate issues, easy to do.
Okay.
We need to make.
Okay.
Anything else would you like to speak to this, sir?
I think it's important, since this is a public meeting, to indicate that the issues that we aren't discussing don't necessarily have to do with necessarily inappropriate or improper conduct by me. At least that's not how I view it. Someone else may view it differently. But I don't want there to be a stain in terms of what we're talking about here. As I have previously indicated to the three of you, I think that whatever issues do exist can easily be resolved by splitting up the representation of the department from the representation of the county as a whole. I think it is going, with all due respect to Commissioner Kanda, I think it's going to be very difficult to find someone who has experience in all three, or really both sides of the coin, both in terms of child protection, work for the Department of Human Services, primarily in dependency and neglect actions, as well as general local government representation. If there's someone out there that has that, that's great. I would say I have a couple of suggestions of people in this area that would make good replacements, particularly at the Department of Human Services, but obviously that's your call, not mine. I'm concerned. I'm concerned, quite frankly, that I've done nothing wrong, in particular as to the general representation of this board and the elected officials and the departments. There's not been a complaint about the quality of my work, and there's not been any complaints about the cost of my work. The only complaint I have ever heard about me as the county attorney, taking DHS out of this picture, is that I have the wrong letter after my name in terms of my voter registration. And that, to the extent that that is in any way part of this, I have a big problem with that, because that has never entered into any of my advice I've given this board or any county office, whatever it's worth. So that's, I think, all I have to say.
Okay, let me address some of that. And I did have a talk with you, Dan, you know that, and I did that, never entered into our discussion ever, that whatever, I don't know where you're getting at, but that's the R versus D. Anyway, that's the whole point of going forward. We can decide if there is somebody he's got in mind, that can be dealt with. If the person that I found, that I am familiar with, happens to be a local person, might work out for all of it, might work for part of it, but until we do it. And I'll beg to differ. You may think that, and I do think we have issues. I do think we have concerns. And that's stuff that we can't get into publicly right now. I wouldn't do that. But there are issues, and I'm not going to split hairs on them.
I think Dan's defense of he's no complaints, it's not so much of that he's done anything wrong in what he has said and what he has done for us as attorneys. Has nothing to do with the
There's
reason.
no stain.
So there is no stain on you, Mr. Slater.
I appreciate that.
I just still have concern. I don't think we should be talking about this as a blanket policy, a blanket action. And I won't support it.
You call the question.
Question's been called. I guess I'll look to you, sir. That takes away public comment at that point, correct?
I mean, in theory, if previous questions called, you gotta have a vote on the motion for previous question before you have a vote on the.
Right.
Okay, so I have a motion to call the question. That does not need a second, correct?
It should require a second, yeah, any motion.
Do I have a second on that?
I'll second.
I have a motion on the floor to call the question. Discussion.
It's not debatable.
Okay. Those in favor,
Aye.
call in the question.
I wish we'd have done this in 2 different steps, but we gotta get moving, at least with one of them, so I'll say aye.
Aye. So the question will be called. So I have a motion on the floor. Could you repeat the motion as you have it written, Kelly, please?
The motion is to change the county attorney.
I have a motion on the floor to change county attorney. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay. That motion carries. So that will bring up the discussion as to the steps to move forward with this, because it's, as was discussed earlier, it can't just be, okay, now we're going to change the county attorney, so we'll see you later, because we have to have that representation. So steps moving forward. You have stated that you have someone
I'll get that
in mind.
resume and the person, and you can decide to either get the resume first, and then that person can be interviewed with us or come in for questions as well. I'd like to get Dan's thoughts, the same thing for for potential other candidates for DHS or whatever he brought up. And this does not preclude Dan from staying in for being considered to continue either. So we need to have a meeting, a special meeting probably, here, just for the attorney discussions, get the ball going.
We need to get that into HR's hands to.
I did run this by Bob Smith initially when we started. This is following the process, and there's no argument.
We need to have, I think we can move forward with an interim for short term. This does need to go out and advertised for county attorney. Could we have waited till first of year when we normally go out for all of that?
Well, here,
That's
hold
beside
on
the
one
point as
second.
well, I guess.
What Bob said, and which is kosher, we could get an intern. I've got a terrible frog in my throat from a cold that I picked up over the holiday I took.
Need more coffee.
Yeah, anyway, we can get an interim to stand in whenever we decide to appoint it, and there's nothing against the rules to do that. Then, once we decide what the next process is to hire a county attorney, you put out the notices, and that could be after the first year. Probably will. And as long as the interim is willing to stay in, we'll have to understand the details on what the process is, what money would be involved, what the time frame is, could be up to 9 months or so as an interim until we find somebody, or not, and get it advertised.
In terms of the department, you need to involve Laura. I mean, when I was retained by the department, the board wasn't involved at all.
That's right.
And I can't emphasize enough how that's not a job that you can do on the job training.
What was this third one?
Well, child support enforcement is a separate contract, but I've never seen.
It's all in there.
I've never seen, yeah, it's all part of the Department of Human
Right.
Services, and I've never seen that
It ought to be
separated
just
between
one
attorneys.
contract, probably, or
It's
no.
two.
Well, no, it has to be.
I know it
two.
is too.
It has to be two for federal
Oh,
requirements,
okay. I thought it was-
for child support enforcement.
Okay,
So there's a contract that, for DHS, and a separate contract that's dictated by basically federal law for child support enforcement. So, in any event, whomever is going to be representing the department, there are ongoing cases right now that are tough and highly contested. One case in particular.
and you're involved in that.
And I'm involved in that.
That's what I meant by pending action.
Okay, well, I mean, there's always going to be that. And I mean, we had a hearing yesterday in that case, we'll have another one in 3 weeks, I think. And whomever is going to be quote unquote interim for the department or permanent for the department has got to understand Title 19 of basically the Children's Code. And
right.
can't be just someone who has done family law in the past or something, because that's a recipe for disaster.
Right. Yeah, those are all good things, and those are things we'll get in detail.
So we might have to tag team it.
Could be.
The new person take on new cases, you finish out the old cases.
I mean, I don't have a problem with the new person taking on the existing cases, because again, there are cases that have been in
For years.
for years. Yeah, we have one case, I think, that's 3 or 4 years old. We have this current one that, it's not a year, but it will be going on probably for at least the next 6 months. But whomever is gonna, like I said, whomever is gonna take over for the department needs to understand the Children's Code, and it's a very specialized area of law.
Okay.
And as I've mentioned in the past, when you go to the county attorney's conference, it's basically 2 separate conferences, one for the county attorney, people who do generalized work, and a whole separate conference for the attorneys that do DHS work.
Right. That makes sense.
And I think, as Bob indicated, he said he's never been in a county where he's seen that the county attorney has done both of those things. This was the first county where he's seen the county attorney do both.
Okay. Yeah.
So we'll need to get,
Just get a time frame, Kevin, but, probably we need to talk to Laura, and I gotta figure out timing on this volunteer potentially in advance. And we can get together and say what would be the best day to get everybody.
we need to get word out that we need somebody I think we need to post this as quick as possible. And we need to look at, also get the word out that we are looking for somebody in the interim. I would like to have your suggestions, sir, as well. You said you knew a couple of people to add to our list that we can look at, rather than just taking just one name and looking at
That's
it.
right.
I'd like to look at 3 or 4.
And we can get Bob to work with him to get process to gather that up and pick a date and get them in here. That was what I would suggest.
Okay.
And Bob will be back on Monday. So we'll need to get with him on Monday and move forward with this.
Yeah, I did have a discussion with him before he went into his procedure, so he's expecting that.
I will reach out to him today and let him know what took place.
Said, or I can,
Okay.
I'm the HR rep anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Go ahead.
I
Be my
will,
guest.
Let me do my job.
Okay.
Anything else?
No.
Additional items?
Oh, wait a minute.
We
got
gotta
the state
do,
land
we
lease
got these other,
that you wanted to add.
we gotta,
And the interim
we gotta
TA.
sign
Okay,
forest agreement, or
That's
a
correct. We
land
have,
lease, and we've got
may I see your copy of that letter here?
Go ahead, it's right there. I'm gonna go get the stuff I printed for the county attorney. Or the county. District attorney.
District attorney.
Okay, the first thing I had was, the Colorado Parks and Wildlife has sent us a letter, in regards to the State Land Board multi-use lease renewal. They have been, running the state land, in regards to Middle Taylor Creek, and they are looking to continue that. So they're asking for our support on the lease renewal. Our signature does not
Xerox admin with that.
make that decision. That just shows that we are in support of their
Management of it.
management of that. That's 488 acres of state land in Middle Taylor, which includes part of Custer County. That's the Middle Taylor State Wildlife Area. But it directly serves the communities of Custer, Fremont, Huerfano, and El Paso. So.
Okay.
So I would move that we sign this letter of support for them moving forward to manage this Middle Taylor parcel.
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion on the floor to approve and sign this letter of support. Any further discussion?
None from me.
Public comment? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I will let you sign that. It has your signature line on it, sir.
Okay.
Second item that I wanted to have on this would be the letter of support for the
District attorney.
district attorney. It will be supporting the current candidate running for that office to be an interim district attorney in the absence of our sitting district attorney, who is in the process of becoming, the disbarment will probably take place here shortly, before the end of the year.
That'd be Jeff Lindsay.
That would be
right?
Jeff Lindsay, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Fremont County, Chaffey County, I know are on this letter. Are all four counties on that letter?
Yes, no, it's, yes, they are.
Okay. You hadn't got that printed out yet?
No, I was trying here, I'm gonna send this to you guys, because I don't have she said it's the admin, it's Xerox. and I
No,
don't
send
have
it to me and I'll print it out.
I'm sending it to you now.
And basically, No, the copy I have didn't have any signatures on it, but it's a letter to Governor Polis, recommending Jeff Lindsay to become the interim. Just thank you for taking time to consider the options of a new DA in the 11th Judicial
You
District.
should have it now.
Our communities are eager for a fresh start. To that end, we are unanimous in our support for appointment of Jeff Lindsay as the next district attorney of the 11th Judicial District. We hope you will give our recommendation serious consideration. Talks about his longtime prosecution experience. That's a short letter, I'll read it all. Jeff Lindsay is a longtime prosecutor with the background, experience, and vision to rebuild the district attorney's office in the 11th. Mr. Lindsay is also a Republican, as is the majority of our district's electorate, and is the only candidate for the position on the November ballot. We believe he has strong future electability and will provide much needed continuity in our district leadership. Appointing Jeff Lindsay now will provide the most seamless transition to our new elected district attorney in January. Should it be necessary to appoint a replacement for Linda Stanley prior to the installation of Jeff Lindsay in January, we ask that you simply appoint Jeff Lindsay to the position now. As the county commissioners within the 11th district, we are already working with him to smooth the transition, establish a budget, and ensure that the DA has the resources and support needed to stabilize and rebuild the DA's office and operations. The sooner he is in office, the sooner his work can begin. We are united as commissioners of the 11th district's constituent counties in requesting the appointment of Jeff Lindsay as our next district attorney. Thank you for your careful consideration. Sincerely, signature lines.
It looks like Lucas is getting it printed.
All right. So I would move that we would support this letter to the governor and add our signatures to the letter as presented.
I'll second.
So a motion on the floor to approve and to sign this letter as presented today. Any further discussion?
No. None from me.
Public comment? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hey, Dan.
Aye. That
What's
motion
that? Can I
carries.
sign that way or William R?
What's that?
That's not, I always say sign things how you normally sign it.
I think it is blue. It's a darker blue.
October.
Yep.
Give this to Kelly now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's what
Is
we
this a
signed.
signature pen?
We both signed with that one, so.
It's a nice pen.
Okay, any additional items?
None from me.
Meeting next Wednesday. I'll round out the month. AP and whatever else we have on the agenda, so.
Thank you. Public comment? Yes, sir.
Jim McMahon, are you guys gonna be meeting Wednesdays again consistently, you think?
Yeah, it should be fairly, December, there's one Thursday that we have to hit instead of a Wednesday, but most of the time it's on Wednesdays.
Got it, okay.
Yeah, this was a weird one, so, yeah.
So we're looking for a new, are you leaving us? What's going on? I mean, I'll just leave it alone, I guess, huh? So, all right, well, appreciate you guys. Thank you for doing such an outstanding job.
Jimmy, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Not seeing any hands. That being the case, This meeting is adjourned at 11:37 a.m.
So I'll scan this back in and send it to Grady.
Have Jen